Welcome to another episode of
Talk, Heal, Evolve. I'm Stephanie.
And I'm Ebony.
Ebony, let's take them on a journey of healing and self-discovery.
Yes.
Grab your seat.
Wrap yourself in a cozy blanket.
Don't forget that journal.
And prepare to dive into conversations that nurture the soul.
I think it's time to create intentional space for growth and evolution.
Girl, you ready?
Let's get into it.
Welcome, guys, to another episode of
Talk, Heal, Evolve.
I'm your girl, Ebony.
Stephanie.
And we are so excited to be here today. We have another amazing topic
Yes.
for you all today. Stephanie, Tell the people what we're talking about.
So today we're talking about representatives and how tired they are. Put them people to bed.
Put
them to bed. Yeah, so Ebony.
Yes.
What's a representative?
I think we all kind of define representative in our own way. I think the simplest way that I look at it is someone who is showing up as their best selves all the time. They have all the things, whether more so is always materialistic and outside of themselves. Like they're showing up as just this perfect person.
Yeah.
Right? And it's like, it feel good, it sound good, but then you're having to show up like that every single time.
Yeah.
You're in a room where you're with that person.
Yes.
And that's what I think a representative is.
Interesting.
What about you?
So I think it's basically the same thing. The only difference I would say is you're trying to represent or reflect the environment that you're in. Because I remember vividly when I was going to school that people would show up as their representatives. So let's say they're from upstate New York. So they come to school, they just from New York. So they hard, Tim's, all that stuff. But that's not really who you are, you know?
Right.
So maybe not all together, but they're showing up as that gangster, which they're not. They're showing up as this healed and spiritual person, and they're not. Or they're showing up, whoever the environment is that they want to fit into, that's how they're showing up as. And you get tired.
You definitely
get
tired.
Burnt out.
You definitely get tired. It gets draining, and you have to keep up with it.
Yeah.
Where's the fun in that?
Where is the fun in that? So I guess if people are showing up as inauthentic individuals and putting on this show, how do you balance the expectations between different environments, right? So if my definition is you're trying to fit into the environment that you're in, how do you even remember or switch, right? When you go from one place to another.
That's interesting.
I know. That's where the fatigue comes in, I feel like. Because you're trying to be everything to everybody. Yeah. And how do you balance that?
Ooh. But it actually brings me to a thought of, is it appropriate to have your representative in life sometimes in some places? Because when you say you're having to switch from environment to environment, think of the people who have to show up to work as a representative.
Yeah.
Oh, how draining is that? You spend the majority of your day at work.
Yeah.
Then you do more hours at work than you do anywhere else.
Yeah.
And to not even be authentically who you are.
Yeah.
Then you're creating a character for work. You're creating a character for your friends. You're creating a character for your family.
Yeah. Yeah.
Man, that has to be draining, guys.
It has to be draining.
And we've all been there like this.
Oh, of course.
We've all been there.
Everybody wants to fit in from young, right? And so we have all been there. But that's so crazy that you say that. It brings me to all these things. And I don't want to jump ahead, but do not let me forget.
Okay.
Because it brings me to this thought process of like, if you say you spend so much time at work, so you have to be this person that you're not, but then do you assume that character? And do you become the character?
Ooh,
like how sometimes actors become.
Sometimes, yeah, if you play the character for so long, you gotta become it
crazy.
in some way.
Yeah.
Start to believe your own.
Right. Mess. That's
interesting.
Crazy. But yeah, let's not get too hard. Because I want to dive into that debate. So we talk about social expectations. Yeah. What about cultural and parental expectations and your representative?
Girl, because black card revoked is a thing.
Yes.
You're not black enough.
Yeah. Ooh.
You can't dance. You're not black if you can't dance. You don't like macaroni and cheese. You're not black if you don't like macaroni and cheese.
If you speak too well.
If you speak too well.
How crazy is
you
that?
You don't sound like you're from Atlanta. Well, baby, I don't know what to tell you. Because that's where I'm from. And that's not how I sound.
Right.
Listen.
How dare you, though? People get on my nerves sometimes. So I'm telling you.
But yeah, so that is a very, very true thing. And I think that we in our culture put it
Yeah.
on us the most.
We do. Even the pressure to fit into like white spaces
Mm-hmm.
or like quote unquote professional spaces or whatever we think
Yes.
that is, we put a lot of pressure on ourselves.
Yeah.
I always relate things to things that I've seen. Hopefully that helps people understand what my thought process is.
Yeah.
And so I'll never forget. Have you watched Insecure before?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. That episode where the new girl came to the office
Mm-hmm.
and she was loud and ghetto and all kind of stuff. And
Yeah.
so Molly felt the need to take her to the side and
Right,
be
right, right, right,
like,
right. Oh yeah, I
in
do
this
remember that episode.
environment, you have to.
Yeah.
And she was like, what? But she was herself. And Molly wanted her to put on. And it did not work out for her.
Mm-hmm.
How crazy.
Mm-hmm.
So sometimes even when we think, you know, we need to fit into a standard and people come in as their authentic selves
Mm-hmm.
and they end up doing better than we are with our fake selves, like
Let me tell
that
you
must
something.
be draining
You
as
being your
well.
authentic self will bother a lot of
Oh,
people
for sure.
because they only wish that they could just be as free
Yes.
as you.
Yes.
Like
Yeah.
your authentic self will bother others who are not living in their authenticity.
Yeah. Yeah. Because you don't mind taking up space.
You don't mind taking
And
up
they feel so
space.
claustrophobic because they can't take up space. And that's
And they take it
unfortunate.
out on you.
Yes. It's not my fault,
Right.
though.
It's not my fault.
Wow. They do take it out on
It
you
happens in the workspaces a lot, I
all the
feel.
time.
Yeah.
Especially between women.
Absolutely.
Especially between women.
Absolutely. That's
Interesting.
heavy.
So let's go into the parental units and trying to
Okay.
show up for your parents.
Whew, don't we all do that? When I thought about this part, I was thinking about like how I'll have conversations with so many people or just strolling through social media and I'll hear other people talking about how they feel like they're failures because they don't know if they're good enough for their parents, or they'll say things like, I wish I was
Wow.
just good enough, or I hope that I make my parent proud, or they
Yeah.
died before they got to see me do all the things. And it's like, to put that type of stress and strain on ourselves,
Yeah.
like, are we good enough? We are. Like, in what way would we not be?
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. I think there is praise that's due for just being who you are. Because that's hard
Correct.
enough in life, right? So there
Correct.
should be, all the things thrown to you, all the good things, just to
Correct.
just being who you are.
Just being who you are. I agree.
And I think sometimes we internalize that and
Very
we
much
then
so.
put that on our children, who then put it on their children, right? Because we want our children to be the best on all the things that we didn't get to be. And now we're putting that stress on them. And so now they're trying to show up as who we want it to be.
Right.
And then it's just like that's not
it.
them. That's not who they are, who they want to be. And now you started them on that path before they even knew themselves,
How do you remedy that? Like, so what's the fix for a parent or guardian who's handling the youth or dealing with the youth or raising the youth, and it's like, are we not telling them that they're good enough just the way they are?
No, we're not.
Okay.
We are not. And I think the remedy is to shut up. You know? We see it in every aspect of life. Like when you were saying that, I'm thinking back to the softball field. Something as simple as that. Chin up. Go harder. You're not running fast enough. Catch that ball. Like,
Wow.
you're not doing enough in a fucking game.
Yeah.
They're like yelling at these kids, And so they come to the dugout and they feel defeated, even though they're winning. They come to the dugout, feel defeated, and you're like, why are you looking like that? Fix your face. And, bro, you making me feel crazy.
Yeah.
And so now they don't feel good enough. So what do they do next time? Do they even want to go back to the softball game? Or, how do they...
Yeah.
We don't let them know that they're good.
That's interesting. So it brings me to, because I know Kanye is such a controversy with a lot of people.
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
But even when I watched his documentary that he had on Netflix, one of the things that I loved and admired is how I felt like his mother spoke such goodness into him,
Yeah.
that he was able to do it for himself. In his documentary, he would go around and be like, I'm a genius, and people be like, how are you calling yourself a genius?
Yes, people
You're
hate
supposed
that.
you're supposed to have, people are supposed to label you like that. And he was like, well, I'm waiting for somebody else to label me.
Yeah.
And then we call it narcissistic because he believes in himself.
Yeah.
How have we gotten to a society that believing in yourself, doing all the things, now we're blurring the lines with all these titles,
Yeah.
and it's so narcissistic of you because you're supposed to wait for an outsider to tell you that you're great or
Yeah.
that what you're doing is good or that who you are is worthy, and it's like, no. I think that's where the disconnection is when it comes to ourselves and being authentic with ourselves. We have to be the first ones to believe and talk into ourselves, not
Absolutely.
someone else from outside of us. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? But I think it does start at the root of childhood.
It does.
And the things that you say to your kids, they matter. You
And
know what
how
I
you say
mean?
them.
And how you
And
say
I
them.
think that learning how, like you said, learning how to pour into yourself
Yeah.
comes from how your parents pour into you.
Yeah.
Right? And so when you're out doing a thing, and I remember back in my day, it was conceited. Now it's narcissistic, but you so conceited.
Right.
You think you better than everybody.
Bougie.
Right? Yeah, all this kind of stuff
All
that
the
they
terms.
try to make you feel inferior because they don't believe in themselves.
Exactly.
And so if you have children or even siblings, your friends, everybody, pour into them. You know what I mean? That's great.
Exactly.
You did that. You know what I'm saying? And so
Exactly.
they can then be like, okay, and then they can pour into yourselves when their mom is not here.
Right.
Or when you're not there.
Right. But then also teaching them at a young age what it looks like to pour into themselves, what it looks like to speak into themselves.
Yeah.
Get in front of the mirror. I don't, it is interesting. I wonder, and guys, if you are a parent that's out there and you hold some of these practices, let us know in the comments below. But I wonder if there are parents that are out there that tell their children, look in the mirror and say these things to yourself. Like, I am beautiful.
Yeah.
I am worthy. Like, all the things like that, because that is self-talk, and you're looking at
Yes.
yourself and you're talking to yourself,
Yeah.
and you feel it for yourself.
Yeah.
I feel like that's so important, and I don't know if that's something that people really do.
I don't, to be honest, I can't speak for everybody, obviously, but I don't think so. I think it is something that people do when an issue arises. But not just because you're just great
Right.
in and of itself. But if you're getting bullied or if you start to feel down or because you can't do something, well, let's do a thing. No, if we do, like you said, do that from the jump.
Right. Proper preparation.
Yes. When that bully comes along, you're not believing everything that they
believing it.
saying, you know?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
That's interesting. That's something that I
Preemptive.
definitely think I want to put in my box
That would be
for
parenting.
parenting.
For
That would
sure.
be, yeah. Is this something I
Toolbox,
do?
cha-ching.
Period. Because honestly, even as adults, it's something that we need to do. We all come against ourselves, and I feel like in life we all are our own worst critic.
Right.
Like, can't nobody say anything worse to you than you probably already done told yourself at some point in time. So even talking to ourselves, the little versions of us, the little children inside of us, I feel like it's healthy and it's necessary, and a lot of us don't do it. And it's something that I started to practice, and I put it into practice heavy. And anytime there is a negative thought that comes up, one of the things I say is, this is not my thought. We have all type of thoughts. We don't have to claim them all.
Right. Right.
All type of thoughts, good, bad, or indifferent. I don't have to claim them all. And if something happens, I could be like, well, is this really true? And then what's really happening if the statement is not true and I feel triggered? Okay, well, little Ebony, what's really going on?
Yeah.
What's the trigger? Do you not feel safe because you are safe? Do you not feel loved because you are loved?
Yeah.
And it's something that I just think that we all need to do, whether we have little trauma or big trauma in our bloodlines, guys. We hold trauma.
Yeah.
And I just think that we have to be the ones. I feel like the world would look different if we all believed in our capabilities and our talents and our powers.
For sure. And that's a powerful thing to realize, the that we hold trauma in our bloodlines. And it's not like, I don't believe that it's a thing that like you're born and if you get adopted you'll have these issues, but when someone goes through a traumatic experience or any experience, it shapes them and how they behave, right? So even if you receive some sort of healing from that thing or you've addressed it, your behaviors are still grown from that experience, right? And so how we talk to our children, how we treat our children are impacted by that thing. And so that's how it runs through. And so really trying to address that early on and identify behaviors, I think is super important.
It's important.
So if we're going back to this representative and how we show up to people,
Yeah.
how do we address that imposter syndrome? Or how do we get tools to identify when we're being an imposter or our representative and really being like checking yourself?
I feel like imposter syndrome is something that's inevitable,
Mm-hmm.
and it is always there no matter what level you get to.
Yeah.
Because especially if you come from nothing. Or
Mm.
whatever it is you consider nothing, because nothing is
Right.
still something, right?
Yes, for sure.
But especially if you come from less than where you are now,
Mm-hmm.
and you want the world, the entire world,
Yeah.
leveling up always has its cons, and imposter syndrome is one of them.
Yeah.
Like, who am I to think that I deserve this, even though you do?
Mm-hmm.
Or I don't know if I can do this. Like, why would you
Yeah.
even, I'd be like, God, why would you even put this in my heart? Because, like, what is this? I don't
Yeah.
even know if this is something that I can carry out, or I don't even know how to do it. Like, so I feel like it shows up, but it goes back to, like, what are we doing for self growth?
Mm.
Like, we do a lot of stuff for self care. We'll
Yeah.
go get our hair done. We'll
Yeah.
go get our nails done every week. We go into the clubs. We go into shopping. But what are we doing for like our own personal self development?
Yeah.
I feel like that's a lack in a lot of people. And I'm not talking, you put more into business development and all the
Mm.
things, going to the gym or in
Yeah.
your children or in your spouses, but personal development is something that so many people lack.
Yeah. Yeah.
So many people lack. And it's like, how aware can you be of yourself if you are the only person that you have to answer to?
Mm.
Because we're going to be biased to ourselves.
Oh, for sure.
We're going to be biased to ourselves.
Yeah.
So it's like, I have no therapist. I don't have a mentor. Who's holding me
You accountable.
accountable?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? To be and do all the things that I say I want to do.
Yeah.
And I feel like it's good to have people in your life that will hold you accountable, but even people that are inside your circle are biased to a nature.
Mm-hmm.
Because they're like, oh, I get it. You're so busy. Like, I get it. You
Yeah.
won't sleep, or I get it. It's been a long day. But somebody outside of yourself is like, I get all the things, but you said this is what you wanted to do for
Yeah.
yourself. So at what point will you stop making excuses and do the things for yourself? Why do we put so much emphasis on doing so much for others and not for ourselves?
Yeah, I don't know. I think it could be so many different things, and identifying what that thing is for you
Yeah.
is important because again, it goes back to burnout. Like if you
Yeah.
do all the things for everyone else when it comes time to fill your own cup,
Yeah.
who's going to do it for you? So then how do you show up?
How do you? Oh, and then when you think about it, it's inauthentic in a way.
Oh, of course. In a way,
Yeah,
100%.
Okay.
For
Yeah.
sure.
And I was listening to something, or I heard something the other day where it was like, we do so much, like we'll go and buy something extravagant for somebody else, but we haven't even done it for ourselves.
Mm,
And it's like, at what point do we gift ourselves the beauty of life, or time,
yeah.
or space, or whatever the thing is that we need to be the best versions of ourselves?
Yeah.
Because if we are not fully fulfilled
Yeah.
or happy or loving on ourselves, how do we do that for other people genuinely
Yeah.
and authentically?
Yeah. I think it that brings it to a full circle moment, right? Because if you aren't doing the things for yourself, if you aren't taking time to develop yourself, you don't really know who you are, right? And you don't really love on you. So
Yeah.
you are dependent on that representative.
Yeah.
But if you're doing the thing, the work, the care for yourself, you become more self-confident. You increase your self-love, and so
Yeah.
you're okay with who you are
Yeah.
and how you show up. So it's less likely that your representative needs to come out. You know what I mean?
Right.
So you're able to just show up as you.
As you, and get more comfortable in it.
Yes.
And just realize that if there are spaces that you feel like you can't show up as yourself, You probably shouldn't be in those spaces.
Period.
You know, like
Period.
I know at a certain point, I just made a vow to myself, like if I can't be authentically who I am,
Mm-hmm.
good, bad, and indifferent,
Mm-hmm.
I just don't want to be around those type of people that I feel like I have to put on. Because what are we putting on for?
Yeah. Yeah.
And I
Yeah.
think living where we live, it can be so exhausting in
Oh
society
my
because people want
gosh.
to have this and that, the best car, the best this, and it's just like, but you're empty inside.
Yeah.
And I'm not trying to be a part of that story.
Yeah. How you have everything and nothing?
And nothing.
It's crazy to me.
And it's like,
It's an epidemic though.
listen,
Everybody has everything here and
and
nothing
nothing.
inside.
And you go to other countries and you see how other people have what we would consider everything,
Mm-hmm.
and we would consider them to have nothing, but really it's the opposite. They
Right.
have everything: the love, the
Mm-hmm.
family, the community, the
Yep.
bonds, the friendships, and they're not worrying about having the biggest house
Mm-hmm.
or the best car. And it's like
Yeah.
you see people being more fulfilled with less
Yeah.
than more. It's like we are so programmed to work, 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 get the money, get the money, get the money, and it's exhausting as
It is exhausting.
fuck.
It's exhausting.
It's so exhausting.
Yeah.
At what point can I just rest?
But that's like comes from wanting validation from outside, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so we see the person who has $3,000 in their bank account,
Mm-hmm.
but they driving that $70,000 car, and you're like, damn, you doing that.
Mm-hmm.
But the person who driving a $3,000 hoopty and got 70K in the bank is like, you don't even want to
Listen.
talk to him. Like, what?
Priorities.
Right, right.
Priorities. And it takes a minute to get there. It's not, especially depending on where you come from, because
Yeah.
we all want all the things. That's the way society is set up.
Mm-hmm.
Depending on where you live, because there are some people who grew up on farms and they do the homestead life and they're
Mm-hmm.
into nature and they have a more understanding with it. But
Yeah.
then people who grew up in the cities, honey,
Yeah.
we want the fast life. We want the convenience of everything. We're not even
Every.
going to get our own groceries anymore.
Yeah,
Okay,
yeah,
we'd
yeah.
rather pay the 20 extra. It's okay. I'm guilty of it
Instacart,
sometimes.
shout out
Not
to you.
anymore, but no. I want to get out and get the fresh air, and I want to
Mm-hmm.
pick my own produce. Because you bring something to my house that I don't like, I'm gonna have an issue because now I done paid for some shit and I gotta take it back to the store.
Right, they be picking the worst ones too.
The worst ones. So it's just because of the fast paced life and because we want all these things to be so convenient for us, is we work until we get it, right?
Yeah.
And we do all the things for legacy, family, stuff like that. But then when you see the kids who had the parents who had absolutely everything,
Mm-hmm.
some of those kids are the most emptiest because even though they got all the material stuff, they didn't get the time, the
Yeah.
attention, or the love.
Right, right.
You know?
Yeah.
Then you have to figure out, what do you hold more valuable? Is it monetary? Is it money? Is it material things? Or is it time with family? Is it making sure that you see the first of all the things? You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Or make, just things like that.
Mm.
Yeah.
So, what is a tool that you would recommend
Mm-hmm.
for people to, and us, of course, to really hone into the sound and finding our voice?
The sound and finding our voice.
Yeah. Because I really think that knowing who you are
Yeah.
is one of the ways to put that representative to bed.
Yeah.
So how do you find your voice and then really hone into that sound and hold on to it?
When you come against something that you feel like has hurt you,
Mm-hmm.
or you feel like it's a space that's inauthentic in a way to who you're trying to be or who you're
Yeah.
trying to become, speak your mind. And do it in a way where it's not, you don't have to be nasty.
Right, right, right.
And you don't have to be loud.
Yeah.
Sometimes you might, if that's your scenario. But speak your mind wherever you are. We are so afraid to take up space in this world, and so many people are so comfortable with just giving the hand that's dealt to them.
Mm-hmm.
I'm sorry. If I'm paying $100 for this meal and my steak well, I don't eat meat anymore, but if my food comes out incorrectly than the way that I ordered it, I refuse to sit there and not say something.
Yeah.
How dare I just accept what somebody done threw on this plate, even though I'm the one having to put my hard-earned money inside of this checkbook and tip, because Because everybody, because you can't not tip. You know, how dare I just accept what is given to me? Why are we so comfortable in this world just accepting the
Any
hand that's
old
dealt with
thing.
us? No, I'm going to say, listen, I don't know, maybe the communication got misinterpreted or something, but what I ordered wasn't this. And, what can we do about it?
Yeah.
Take up the space.
Yeah, for sure.
Take up the space. Take up the space, guys. Like, whatever is there for you, there's a way to get your message across. Somebody saying something to you that you don't agree with is a little disrespectful. It hurts your feelings. Don't let it linger. Don't let it sit. How dare you? So you're not going to put yourself first? You wouldn't allow them to talk to your kids like that. You wouldn't allow them to talk to your parents like that, but you're going to allow them to talk to you like that?
Yeah.
No, we're not doing that. No, we're not doing that. Take up the space.
Yeah. Good.
Yeah. What about you? What's a tip
I
that you
would
would give
say
people?
identify why you want to be in that space. You know, who are these people that you're trying to impress? And why? Like, what
Why?
about them
Right, right, right.
do you think that you need to fit into them, their space, as opposed to them coming into yours?
Right.
You know
Because
what I'm saying?
everybody want to see at somebody else's table
Period,
instead of
right?
just making your own table.
Exactly. And you never know. Like, every individual is so great. And sometimes we don't even know how great we
We are.
are until we get around
Yes.
people and they like gravitate or tell you, you know? And so we all have some uniqueness about us. And we're
Absolutely.
so great that if you show up as you, I am sure that people are gonna be like, oh,
Exactly.
well, did you? And how can I be
Yeah.
like you, basically?
Yeah.
You know? So why do you want to be them in that space? Or why
Yeah.
do you want to be hard in that space? Or why do you want to be perfect in that space? For what?
Yeah.
So I think really identifying that
Yeah.
is important.
Yeah. I would also add like an activity, whether you're writing it in your journal or whether it's 5 minutes of your day where you sit in front of the mirror and you just say 10 things that you love about yourself. And I would prefer for them to be internal things
Yeah.
or physical. I love the way my eyes look. I love my smile.
Yeah.
I love the type of heart that I have. I love that I'm a giving person. You know what I mean? I love that I'm compassionate. I want us to start doing that more. I
Yeah.
feel, they say that you can adopt a habit in 21 days,
Yes.
you know?
Yeah.
So what if we just said, I've been doing what I've been doing for the longest and it's not working for me. Let me try something else. And for 21 days, I just took 5 minutes out my day. We got 24 hours in a day, guys. 5 minutes is minuscule
Yeah.
to everything else. It's no reason why we can't. It's no reason why we should give an excuse of, I just didn't have time today. Five
Yeah.
minutes?
Yeah.
Do it while you're in the bathroom brushing your teeth.
Yeah.
Do it while you're in the shower. Literally. And just 10 things minimum that you love about yourself, because you want to be the person that's speaking to yourself and you don't want other people. It'll be nice. It's a compliment when other people say it, like an accessory on your arm, but you already know you're killing the game.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Right.
But like, you have to know that you're killing the game. You have to know that you are worthy. You have to know that you bring something to not a table, but this world. There
Yeah.
is a purpose for you, whether you consider that purpose to be big or small. We all are meant to do something in our own right on this earth. You know what I mean? And who are we not to? Especially when, I don't care what you believe in, but as long as you know, like, a God, a creator, whatever your religion is, if you are the child of such a being, how can you not think of yourself to be as great? If you are a child of God, how can you not think of yourself as a god or a goddess? Just like you have children, and your children are always going to be a part of you. Every superpower that you have, every talent, they see it, they watch it. So we know the capabilities of the creator. How can we then think that we are anything less but than great?
Right.
And I'm talking
So,
to myself.
right. That's why I'm letting you have your moment, because I know. But also, I want to add on to that, right? And so you've listed the things that you love about yourself. Now, find ways that you can love on yourself, self-care, all
Yeah.
that kind of stuff to accentuate those things.
Yeah.
Because that only builds the confidence
Yeah.
that you have in yourself.
Yeah. Agreed.
so that you don't have to pretend to be anything that you're not. Because
Yeah.
there are great things about you.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So I think that was great.
I think it was really great.
Yeah.
Well, guys, as always, we love that you decide to come here and watch us every Tuesday or whatever
Yes.
day this video finds you. For more content like this, please make sure to comment, follow, and subscribe at the links below.
Yes.
Follow us on all social media platforms, including Patreon at
Yes.
Talk Heal Evolve. And the website is coming soon, guys. So
See you then.
see you then. Bye.